Okay, while we are doing Kubernetes, one thing that you guys need to remember, Kubernetes not only support Docker. Docker is one of the most popular containerization software. Yes, that is true. And there are other softwares that is also there. So make sure that you know one is called Rocket. Okay, so Rocket is one of the containerization technology, but the problem is um, the what do you call the popularity between among the society is little bit less. Okay, so that's why there is like the dominant party or dominant things which related to Docker is that uh, it is something that we think like okay, when we talk about containerization, it's like the first thing that you come out is Docker. So the other software is something like other things are there, but not that much of what you call popular among the community. Okay, so what do we have? I think my Docker installation completed almost now. But let's talk about a little bit more. And the main thing is this automatic scaling on the fly. Those things are like scaling application. That is the first thing that you need to remember when we talked about uh, when we are talking about Kubernetes. Okay, so first, the first most common thing that you guys would do is when you are looking at Kubernetes is scalability, how easy to make that work. The next thing is I talked about kube control. Okay, kube control is like the uh, kube control is the what we call the uh, tool that we use for uh, doing uh, communicating or the tool that we use for manage our Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so we need to make sure that we have kube control. It's like it's like something that we can use to uh, control Kubernetes clusters. Of course, we have a GUI most of the time, but the GUI in sense does not have all the functionalities. Okay. Uh, so what we need to do is we need to master kube control commands such as kube control create, which will create any resources. And all the resources that we are creating is going to be in format of YAML. Okay, we will look into some YAML. So we need to make sure we understand these YAML files in order to deploy something. Okay. So bottom line is you need to know kube control and it is commands. It's commands to manage a cluster. Uh, Minikube dash. Okay. So the next thing that we need to know about is a cluster. Okay, that is like group of nodes. Okay, how the Kubernetes is managing. So this is containing a Kubernetes cluster, and Kubernetes cluster would help us to manage everything that we see in our application. Okay, so it's easy, and you will find that a lot of the time it's like really easy when we think about Kubernetes cluster. We have Kubernetes master. Okay, this is the master cluster that is governing all the Kubernetes stuff. This is like the head office of Kubernetes. Let's say it like that. And there are like other nodes that is running the pods and containers and everything. So this is giving us a perfect instruction of how Kubernetes is like, uh, what we can uh, look at like this. It's really easy. So you guys can think that Kubernetes cluster is like um, a cluster containing a master node that is connecting everything, and there is the replication controller who is managing all the replicas that we need, and we have two nodes. Okay, so within nodes, the smallest deployment structure, what we call, is a pod. Okay, within the pod you will find the containers. Okay, the containers that we are looking in is going to be the container itself. So make sure that the pod is like the smallest deployment sector, and container is like the smallest thing that you will encounter. Okay. All right. Next thing that we're gonna be looking at is pods. Okay, so as I mentioned, pod is like the smallest deployment structure that you will find in here, and within a pod you can have multiple containers. It's like something like Docker Compose. I'm not exactly saying that is the thing. It's something like that, but we can run multiple things. So you guys don't need to work with a lot of the things. And the next thing that you guys need to um, uh, know is that containers, of course, on the sorry, yes, you need to know containers. So containers is basically the Docker containers that we are running. Okay, so there are, as I mentioned, there are like other parts that we can support, but uh, um, so uh, uh, nothing huge in this scenario, but most of the time when we are talking about pods and everything, it's gonna make the um, Docker dominance. Most of the things that we do is gonna be going with pods, and everything is gonna be Docker related.